Hi guys, it's Rick Shiels down here at Quest Golf Academy here at Prairie Sports Village. I'm going to do a head-to-head against these two ridiculously named drivers. We've got the Vertical Groove driver from Vertical Groove, and we've got the Callaway Epic from Callaway. This is the Sub Zero model. I'm going to do a head-to-head between these two golf clubs. So I'm going to hit 5 shots with each on GC2 HMT and then dive through the numbers to see if there's any difference in performance between two very different drivers. Very different indeed. I have got single reviews of both of these clubs on my channel already, so you can go and check those out. I did the Vertical Groove test just before today, and interesting the results, because the Vertical Groove driver is all about the grooves on the face pointing downwards instead of horizontal. It's a 450cc head with dimpling effects on top to reduce airflow, and it does look quite a cool design with the black, green and white. It does look quite classy and cool. Sorry, classy is not the word. It does look quite cool. So that's the Vertical Groove driver with the see-through head cover. And I've got that in an Aldila NV shaft, 65 gram extra stiff. That's the only thing I've not been able to do is get these two drivers in exactly the same shaft, because that's a non-adjustable head and I've only got it in that one shaft. Moving into the Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic. This is the Sub Zero model, which is the one I'm actually currently using in my bag. I've got the weight back, so it's in most forgiving setting. And this technology well, first off, talk about the grooves. It's actually got no grooves. Those grooves are painted on. So we're going no grooves against vertical grooves. Literally no grooves at all. They're just decoration almost. It's got jailbreak technology behind the head. So there's these two, the aluminium rods behind the head, which help keep the top of the crown and the bottom of the golf club more connected on shots. And I've got this in the Aldila Rogue shaft in 60 gram extra stiff. So not massively different in the shaft. Head size, I actually think, and I might be wrong in saying this, I'm sure these two are almost the same size head. I think the Epic might be a 460, even though the Vertical Groove is a 450, but it looked totally different. If I just didn't know the numbers, I would 100% say that the Callaway Sub Zero Epic was much bigger. If that was 460, I would imagine the Vertical Groove would be 430. Just the way that the head's been designed, but it's a much deeper face, you see, so that's why it's changed a little bit on the shape. And it's not as kind of tapered into the back of the driver. The Callaway tapers into the back, where the Vertical Groove is much more round into the back of the driver. I'm going to hit 5 with each, and then we're going to test it and have a look at the numbers. Shaft length, we're on about the same, almost identical. Yeah, pretty much identical shaft length. So we should get some fair numbers off these two drivers. Let's go Vertical Groove first. I'm going to hit 5, whiz over to the Callaway, hit 5, and then we'll dive through the numbers and we'll see what sort of distance they are looking at and what sort of straightness. Bearing in mind, this is not a longest drive video. Longest drive videos are different. That's where I just smash the ball as hard as I can. This is more of a direct head-to-head. So I'm going to hit it like I would do out on the golf course, not trying to hit it 350 yards. So, Vertical Groove driver. Let's start with this, and then we'll join you second when I'm switch over to the Callaway. Okay, so that is 5 with the Vertical Groove driver. And definitely a tendency of curving that one to the right a little bit. Let's jump onto the Callaway and let's see what the results look like with that. Okay, so moving into the Callaway, this is the same lot. Well, actually, this is 10 degrees, where the Vertical Groove is 9.5. Like I said, I'm trying to get these as closely matched as I can, but I'm doing the best with the specs that I've currently got. Let's give this a hit now and compare it against the Vertical Groove. I think the one thing we're looking for distance and accuracy, the difference between these two drivers. When I'm not trying to hit them as hard as I can, let's see how they perform if I'm just hitting them normally. So let's go 5 with the Callaway next, and then we'll dive through the detail of the numbers and see if there's much of a difference. Okay, so that is 5 done with each driver. Let's now have a look at putting those numbers into some sort of comparison so I can see if there's much of a difference between the Epic and the vertical groove. Let's go have a look. Right guys, so I've compared the numbers and I've thrown in the 5 from the vertical groove and the 5 from the Epic Sub Zero. And we now get some sort of average numbers. These are average numbers of the 5 shots that I've hit. And it is super, super interesting. Let's look into it. So this is now all the ball data. I'll come to club head data in a moment. It's all the ball data. So let's get to the crunch. Let's get to the carry distance. And the carry distance was vertical groove driver at 280 average carry distance compared to 278 of the Callaway. Really surprised about that. Really surprised, because I actually felt like when I was hitting it, I felt like I was getting a bit more carry distance out of the Callaway, but the vertical groove definitely got up there. Total distance from both of them were the same at 300 yards. So that's pretty good. I'm all right with that. And again, that was just me hitting them as I hit them. I think when I just normally hit them, just cruising, hitting drivers, I'm around that 282 to 285 carry mark. So these two aren't far off that at all. Ball speed on both of them, the actual Callaway just pipped it on the ball speed, but with a little bit more spin, upspin at 2,300, that's where I feel like it just lost a little bit of distance. That little bit of higher spin rate got that ball just not quite getting out there as far as I would normally get it. Compared to the vertical groove driver, which had slightly lower ball speed but less spin, a higher launch angle with less spin got that ball travelling further. So it launched higher and stayed in the air for a little bit longer, 2 yards pretty much. Now, the big thing though, let's talk about the big thing about the straightness and the accuracy. I now generally play with a straighter shot or a slight curve to the right. And every shot they hit of both those two drivers, then nothing finished left of target. If it did, it was minimal. The straightest of those two drivers was, without question, the Callaway. I was only, let's see if I've got a yardage on that even. Have I even got let me just have a look at that, see if I've got an average yardage offline. Offline. Yeah, mostly to the right. The vertical groove driver, the worst one was 42 yards to the right. The best one was only 0.7 yards to the right. So I had 40 yards of straight or to the right. That's me, that's down to me, human error, where the face was more open to the path. With the Callaway, my worst one was 27 yards offline, and my best one was 2.2 degrees to the 2.2 yards to the left. So I had a smaller window with the Callaway, and my misses were much, much better. What other thing I want to show? I want to show you the club data as well. Here we go. Right, let me get this compare up and then show you the club data. So that's the club data you can see there on the strike. Strike location from both golf clubs were pretty centered on average. Paths on both of them were pretty good. Probably the Callaway was actually coming through the face angle a little bit, tiny bit to the left, where the vertical groove was coming in a little bit from the inside, but we're talking a degree, if that, half a degree. Club head speed with the Callaway was faster, and I wasn't expecting that because I thought maybe the vertical groove might be faster with it being a smaller head shape, just a little bit smaller. Smash factor for both was 1.47, so I was getting very good efficiency off the face, so no grumbles there at all. For me, when I'm looking at those figures, carry distance on a different day, that might be different numbers again. Because if I look at the worst carry distance for the vertical groove was 270 and the best was 285. With the Callaway, my worst one was 270, but my best was 286. So I actually got the best carry distance with the Callaway, the best one, where the vertical groove driver was more average, better hits, around that 280 mark. For me, straightness, what does that come down to? It comes down to human error, the face being more open to the path or close to the path, or the path being too out or in, or the strike location on the face being too varied. Well, we can cancel a few things out there. The strike location on the face was very centered. The path was very, very straight. What's made those things go offline? Was it the driver? No, it was the club face. The club face being open more to the path. What vertical drivers are going to do to a golf shot? Nothing. I'm pretty now adamant about that. I don't believe it's going to do anything to hit the ball straighter. On a different day, we might have got slightly different numbers where the shot accuracy might have been a little bit better on the vertical groove, but it's definitely not 40% straighter than my current driver. It is not 40% straighter for a driver that's got no grooves. interesting to see. I just don't think the vertical, it's a nice idea, but I just don't think it's doing it. As a driver, it's a good driver. As a driver goes, I feel like it is a very good hitting driver. It's not the most forgiving. It's a smaller head. It's not the most forgiving. It looks quite funky. And if it gives you a psychological edge that you're going to hit it straighter, great. But I promise you, factually, I really don't think it will. The only other thing I can see from that is whether that the shaft difference maybe affected the spin rate a tiny bit, but we are talking tiny, tiny, tiny amounts. Not enough to register, or certainly not direction anyway. That was more me. Guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Tell me down below which of these two drivers do you fancy the look of more. And if you're new to my channel, you've never seen my content before, there's a big red button down here in the corner. If you hit that, you'll be subscribed to my YouTube channel and you will not miss a video. I release videos daily. Guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And we'll see you next time, testing some more clubs. But this time, it was a pretty fair contest between the two. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.